Hello, just going to the end of my almost a week here with Peter and Lenka and the family in Slovakia. And I just want to chat with Peter, who spent, I think, 11 years in Ireland and was a deacon and a lot of good, valuable work in Norwood Church and in the parish in general. So first of all, Peter, how have you settled since you came back?
We settled quite well. Took some time for kids to settle down, but now they're happy here. They can enjoy a lot of activities. They enjoy the whole country, how we are living, and what we are doing here. So they are pretty involved in the church, so it is keeping them in, they're fulfilling their lives by keeping strong faith and so on.
I've been here a week and I noticed it's a very vibrant community. Where you live, it's about 25-30 kilometers from Bratislava, and it's a lovely country area where there's lovely set up, lovely garden, lovely homemade vegetables and fruit. So it's beautiful, absolutely. I enjoyed my time here. But what I did notice is that there's a great kind of a faith life. Well, in your case anyway, it would be there in Ireland as well as here. So what difference do you find of the faith life here now and what you left in Ireland?
Difference is a bit different. We are trying here to be more active, probably, in those terms. We are trying to meet not only for sport or just for a picnic, but we are also trying to meet to pray. We are trying to go to the pilgrimages, and there's also the difference is that we are here the families, more families with the younger kids, and a special time when they can meet together and spend the time.
I noticed that was very, very good, and I noticed as well at the evening mass here, mass, there's no morning mass, the evening mass at 6:30, and last week when the schools were closed, we had about 50 to 60 people. It was smaller tonight now because the kids are back in school, and there seems to be very, very committed people. It's like a bit like Ireland. You have the people who are very, very committed, and then like in Ireland, a lot of people that just don't practice anymore or have the same values of faith. How would you think of that?
The thing is that the past was made in different circumstances. So our church was persecuted. We are free just maybe 35 years. And during the time of persecution, there were people were involved in the underground church. So that message from the underground church is, and what they were doing, and they were, they were working with a lot of people, with youths. It is still here.
Yeah.
So that's why we are probably value it strongly, and that's why we are maybe so dedicated to the faith, because we see it as a big benefit
I'm
for-
surprised, you know, that every church we've been to, there are beautiful churches, and obviously many of those churches were built before the communist regime, and during the communist regime were people allowed to practice faith.
Yes, yes, it was forbidden, so we practiced it. And you know, it's just fruit of the communism, I think, that we are in that into the sense of the strong, you know, which make us stronger.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
faith
That's
makes-
right. The
makes
point I wanted
stronger.
to make,
Yeah,
because when you're kind of forbidden to do something,
yeah,
it makes you stronger. But then a lot of people, the younger people, kind of like in Ireland, are drifting away a little bit, are they?
they are. Yeah, yeah, they are. So, but I think it's not only Ireland; it's also the other countries in Europe.
Yeah.
So, but here in the Eastern Europe, like us and Poland, maybe even like Czech Republic, something draw us forward to that deeper understanding of the faith.
I got a big understanding of that faith tonight after we celebrated Mass at 6:30, and we had arranged to visit some families, and one particular group of families all lived in the same, and one stage was a huge big garden. Now there are 3 different families, and we had a lovely time in each of the family homes. So we prayed with all the families, and we blessed everybody, and we had a little celebration. And like, I think something like that is necessary in Ireland to bring people together to have a more prayer life with the family in the home. I think we failed as clergy in Ireland to go out to meet people in their homes when they're not coming to meet us. But all these people are people of faith, and they understand. I felt a great sense of joy and peace when blessing those children. And I think in the 3 families we visited, I think there were how many children?
Altogether 12.
And 12. And then we came, the final house, which is next door, we left that at last. They'd been waiting for us until an hour. It was after 9 when we got there, and he had a lovely barbecue and everything prepared. But the kids were gone to bed because they have to go to school tomorrow. But I got an insight into the faith life of families that pray together, stay together.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it is big value for us, and we meet a lot with those families, not only after Mass, but we visit each other quite often, and then we enjoy the time. But the special thing is this, that we are united in something very strong, something which draws us together. If there was no faith, we wouldn't be together.
Does it
So-
help to the fact that you're a deacon? Does that help you accept it fully as a deacon? Because one thing I was surprised at, there's no scarcity of priests in Slovakia. So why is that?
What do you mean?
There are plenty of priests to minister to people.
Oh yes, yes, plenty of priests. So there is no need to have deacons here. But some people in the church understand that deaconess is the part of the church. So and here, in those 3 houses we were just 1 hour ago or so, they understand that the deacon is the part of the church and is the element which belongs to the church. So they appreciate that I'm actually here.
So that you found it, I think you told me, a little bit difficult to kind of get into, ministry here.
Yes.
It took a while to...
Yes, oh yes. Only some people understand it, but majority people don't understand, and they don't know what it's all about. So it's quite difficult to be here because people go to church, yeah, but they don't understand that it's special ministry
And
to be deacon.
give me an idea of how many vocations you would have in the diocese or even in the country?
For the priesthood,
Yes.
vocations, there are every year approximately there are 40 people ordained for the priesthood in the whole country.
40.
40, around 40. So it goes from 35 to 50. So
Yeah.
approximately these 40 people are ordained for the priesthood. From the religious life, monasteries, and from the Greek Catholics and for the Roman Catholics.
And when we were at the beatification of Blessed,
Jan Havlik.
yes,
Yeah.
a few days ago on Sunday, or sorry, on Saturday,
Saturday.
the 30th of August, that was a huge celebration. And maybe explain maybe a little bit to people why that celebration was so important, and tell us something about the life of Blessed Jan.
Yeah, Blessed John was put into the prison because he was the enemy of the state. So he put into the most difficult prison in Slovakia or Czechoslovakia at the time, and was working at the Uran caves, which approximately brought him into health difficulties, and he suffered a lot. He was in his cell in prison on his own most of the time. He was tortured there because of the faith, because he was organizing prayer groups and so on, and praying and so on. So he was understood as an enemy of the state. And he was given the sentence of 14 years, but because of the very bad health, he was freed after 10 years, and then but his health was so bad that after 3 years of being free, just heart failed, and he died. Yeah.
So
at the age of 37.
yes, I didn't realise he was that young.
Yeah.
But on Saturday it was a kind of a tremendous boost to faith here, I think, in Slovakia, because of what he had done. And I think it's the first time in a number of years that somebody has been beatified.
Yeah, those beatification in the recent years, they are here. So it was the last one in 2017. It was Salesian Titus Zeman was beatified, and before that it was the girl, 16 years old, Anka Kolesarova, was beatified, probably 2014, and before that, in 2003, actually John Paul II came here, and Bishop Jan Wojtaszak, and there was a nun, forgot her name, was beatified also. So,
One other thing I noticed during my week here,
yep.
and especially even in the household with 7 or with 5 young people as well, members of your family, I never saw people, clunk their phones or tablets or whatever during the week. One day we were just walking around and we walked through the park, and there was 4 kids sitting down in a blanket, and Kira went over and sat with them. What they were doing, they were playing cards.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was amazing, because the day before I'd been with certain relatives, and for 2 hours, and they're only about 8 years of age, and they spent the 2 hours on their phones, playing games or whatever. And there's a huge difference. That's the one major difference. And any day I went out, I saw very, very few people using their phones, especially children, which is a total contrast to what's happening in Ireland. You would see 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, glued into the phone. And I think some country in Europe, not too sure, I saw today, have banned the use of these devices for smaller kids. And in Ireland, they're trying to ban mobile phones in primary schools and a certain level at post-primary schools. Now, it's important that people would may be able to contact young people in time of necessity. So how do you manage that with your family?
We are trying to explain them that it's okay to be on those devices, but it's only for a short time. So probably I think the max is 1 hour to play a day. They can use it for studying, but not for playing. So, but it took really a lot of energy with them to explain many times, and then we recommend them to rather to take a book or to take some the game as a family game.
Yeah, you're
rather,
back. Yeah,
or to take some sport.
Yeah. You're back now about 5 years, and I think even when you were in Ireland, that was a kind of almost a standard practice that every kid would have a phone, and it's worse now. You see a group of kids inside in a room, maybe it's whatever it is, and they're all talking to each other on the phone, and yet they won't talk to each other. And I think it reflects as well in their relationship with God. I think they're not used to, like young people in Ireland, in my experience, and I spend a lot of time with young people through sport, and that's why I got them involved and still became involved in sport, because it was the one area where I could have, a bit of influence, or, I felt I was, I suppose, appreciated and valued in their eyes by the fact that I took interest in them. But again, they're wonderful people, young people, but yet they get, maybe in my eyes, a lot of them have strayed away from the values. Like in Ireland, I would reckon that maybe on weekends, maybe only 1% of children attend Mass, and that they all come at Christmas and to a limited extent at Easter. But the faith practice in Ireland, it's just totally alarming. And I think something what we did tonight, visiting those people's houses and praying with them, that would change. So what, would your experience be between the situation here in Slovakia and what you had experienced in Ireland?
It is just to be more interested to spread the faith, outside the church, the building, or of the parish. It's just something it's good to experience joy and the happiness outside the church. And it means that just to invite people to sit down at a table and to pray around the candle. People need to experience that joy which comes eventually from the prayer, and depth of the prayer, and people needs to understand that people can listen to them. So it is, but it's something what is like passing, from the parents, but
Exactly.
also from the people
themselves.
but also people who are really, they have in their mind they need to bring the gospel outside the church.
And I think you told me at one stage during my visit that when you were in Ireland, your place of work, you kind of encouraged people, but they were very interested, but there was no action. People, you could not kind of get them to commit to coming together. So how can you explain that to me, or what you tried to do?
No, I was trying to get some young people together and to be together for maybe for an hour. But it was okay, but afterwards people some of them didn't come, never they came, some of them came, but they had just stronger different interests. That's the problem. Then you can't pull somebody by strength to come somewhere, because there's no freedom.
Yeah.
We need to really to offer something good. It must be in freedom.
But you think
an example is very important, but we need some, I don't know, enthusiastic priests, enthusiastic laymen, and to just invite people to those events. Inviting.
But it's easier to do that here.
Here, easier.
Do you think that's because of the oppression, and when religion was kind of banned, that people kind of appreciate now the fact that they're free to practice?
Because of the freedom, yes. So it is still like going on, So and because people who just need to they just care, they want to, they just care about about the faith, not only for themselves. They care to bring people, to bring the faith or outside.
Yeah.
So
even in your time, you saw a lot of changes in Ireland with all these referenda. Again, it was the agenda of the government, I think, to de-Christianise Ireland. It was the agenda of the media to de-Christian Ireland, and it's led to a very, very sorry state. I have my own views on that. I can understand to a certain degree maybe about divorce, even though it's not right. I can understand a certain degree about same-sex marriages. That's their problem. It shouldn't interfere with other people. It should be their problem, and it should be kept at their level. But the one thing I can't ever understand, why a Christian country like Ireland voted to bring in abortion. And recently I was at a wedding of a friend of mine, and I met a man just by accident, but I don't think a lot of things happened for a reason, but maybe it wasn't an accident. And he told me he had just come back a short time from 15 years in Canada, and he told me that he was shocked the change he saw in Ireland in the interim period. So he decided when he came back that he would stand as an independent in the elections, and everybody thought he was mad, that he'd no hope because of his agenda of preaching strict Catholic teaching, and I suppose more importantly the value of human life. He did go for election, and he got elected. But I met him at a wedding, and his first cousin, I think, or his cousin, was at the wedding. And I said, you know, she came from New Zealand. And I asked her, you know, what did she work at? Because I've been kind of an inquiring mind, and I like to find out what people's interests are. And she said she worked as a nurse in Auckland. And I said, I've been there to the, you know, the Capuchins. I said, our hospital is only just a block away from the Capuchins. I said, what branch of nursing did you work? And she said she worked as in the neonatal care. And I said, was that difficult? He said, you can never imagine how difficult it was. Here was I spending all my time trying to save, you know, premature babies and try and keep life on them, doing my best and with my team. And next door, they were killing them up to 6 months or maybe more. So she could never understand that, or she could never understand why we, I suppose, in our state, brought in that law. Now, it was supposed to be for extreme cases. Now, I've been told in recent times that since that legislation came into Ireland, 66,000 young lives have been taken. And I think that to me is a tragedy. Like, you know, why were people so blind? Why did the government pay people to come home to vote? Why did they do this? Because they wanted to de-Christianise the Irish society. And I feel very, very strong about the governments and the ministers and the people who turned their back and changed, you know, at the very end and encouraged people to vote for abortion. So I think, to me, that's the greatest evil that has ever beset Ireland. So that is not here. These various, I suppose, they had no referenda here, but it came in under the communist regime, you know, the various things like divorce, abortion, whatever. So can you fill me in on that in relation to what was imposed on people here without a vote, and how it, I suppose, impacts on people's lives?
Now, abortion is here since the communism, but there's a deal between parties that they are saying that they are not going to open it because progressive party want to make it worse.
What's the limit now? What's the restriction?
3 months.
3
3
months.
months, yeah. So it was under communism and it's now still. So we don't want to open it anymore. Like we are trying to open it and to make it more strict. But we just said that what it was in the past, it to be
Maintained.
not touched. Yeah, it will be not touched. So we are keeping this. But we never had in government progressive party. If there was progressive party in the government, it would be like the laws would be much different than now. So because if there were some progressive party in the government, there were also some Christian party. So they couldn't do more because there was opposition in the government not to go further in those legislations for abortions or something different. So in this case, we are probably conservative country. People are more conservative, but there are plenty of they are just want to break. The liberals and the progressives want to break it. So nearly all the media are on the side of progressives and liberals. Those media, you know, mainstream and everything. But they are not successful because this church is the opposite, is saying the opposite. And also we have some Christian parties, and people from those Christian parties are in the parliament. And you see, so they are not. They are. On the one hand, they know that people are conservative people. So if they want to win the election, it's not good for them to open the topic of progressive things. So people though even so they are saying those conservative things, and it will. I'm also, but I'm very surprised that the Progressive Party didn't make big success in those terms, because they were because they, because people just don't, they're voting for them, but there's also vote for different parties which are against those things. It is very strange that is something is keeping us in those traditions,
Yeah,
that we are not changing those things.
that's a good sign.
Yeah,
And what about
something is keeping us, and I just by coincidence, or the people don't want to change, or the tradition is very strong here of those things. We don't want to change it, because if I compare Ireland and Slovakia in this case, just in Ireland they say, here we are a modern country. We are not living in the Middle Ages. And they're convincing and brainwashing the people, the minds and brains, brainwashing all the time, because they are questioning all the time people with those questions, why? And it's just the tactic of the liberals. And people are brainwashed. They're using bad examples of the church. Fine. But they are not using good examples of the church. So they are making people just, making in their thinking, in their agenda, because we are a modern country. We will be first country to introduce this legislation, and the thing is that it is something against us. And here we have, it is not so strong, and we thought that 20 years ago all the values, bad values from the West, will be also here, but they're not still here yet fully. They are coming slowly, but not by government. They're coming slowly by media, and and by the companies, because those ideas are coming. Those multinational companies here, and companies are implementing those ideas into their agenda, and they are just have those meetings and talking about this.
Did divorce come in during the communist?
During the communists, yeah.
And there was no referendum to just impose on people.
Yes. We don't have many referendums here.
Compared to Ireland.
Compared to Ireland, there is referendum for many things, because we just parliament. We vote for the people. We vote the politics into the parliament, and they decide. Yeah. So that's why it is so important to choose good people, and with good values people to the parliament.
What about the same-sex marriage agenda? What's this story here? Because again, it didn't. I suppose, in a sense, it bothered me in one way, but that was people's choice if they wanted. So what is the situation here?
So maybe 10 years ago, there was a government that was made by Christian party and left-wing party. So the party, which was Christian, was trying to convince the left-wing party that they made the constitution say that the marriage is between only man and woman. So 2/3 of the parliament voted for it. It means 90 people at least. 90 people in the parliament voted for that the marriage is only for the man and woman. So it is in the constitution now, and it would be very, very difficult to change it. If Progressive Party is not so strong. They at this stage, they don't have 90 people in the parliament to vote for a change, to cancel it and for a change. So it was very reasonable from that Christian party to introduce it, and it is in the constitution of the state.
As I said earlier, I kind of, not while I'd condone or accept maybe divorce because it's against the teaching of the church,
Yeah,
and about our same-sex marriage, because if people want to kind of get their own togetherness, and it's not, I suppose, a calamity for the world,
no,
even though it's maybe not in accordance with the teaching of the Catholic Church, but at least it's, if it happens, it should be kind of not included maybe in legislation. People should, in a way, accept it themselves, and not divorce us from thinking that they're wrong, but I've often said that, I can not condone it, I can tolerate it for sake of society, to be, not to be more liberal, but to be more, I suppose, show empathy with people that have those tendencies, which again I think is unchristian to criticise them or ostracise them from the church.
Yeah.
So those two issues, again, if people are living in a toxic relationship and it's not working out, I've often kind of thought about people needed maybe a second chance, that nobody need to live in misery or that. So from that point of view, even though it's contrary to the teaching, you kind of, as I said, you kind of accept it, but you don't condone it. But the abortion thing, I think it's the sorriest day, and every single time, and I know even relatives and people I knew that never, were always part of the church, they came and voted because they were hoodwinked. And I think it's like the British with the Brexit. They're sorry now that this happened, and it'll be very, very difficult to reverse that trend. Again, you would understand in, I suppose, difficult cases, if some unfortunate girl was raped and attacked, that you could see some, I suppose, empathy with that. But the fact that in a few years, 66,000, lives have been terminated, I think, that's a slur on society. And, the other thing is, in relation to that, we've Special Olympics for all those who have special needs. We Paralympics at the moment for people who have slight infirmities, and they were allowed to live. In future, there will be no Special Olympics, because all the children will be, when they find out in pregnancy that they have these, Down syndrome children or whatever, they will all be, people will make the choice that they don't want those children to be born. And I know families that have Down syndrome children. I know people that have special needs. I work with special needs when I was involved in athletics in Charleville, and I started the first Munster Special Needs Games there, ever before, the Kennedys in America started the worldwide, games for those. And I've known, I appreciate, and they're the most lovable and beautiful children, and I suppose loving, as I said, that you could ever meet. Now, all that, I think, has been removed from future generations. I don't think that's a good thing. That's the one complete downside of what people voted for in bringing in abortion to Ireland. So people should think and be very, very, I suppose, sorry if they have been the cause of this happening.
Yeah, it is. I found in Ireland that all the politicians were for those things, all the parties. I couldn't understand. So probably you need some good party in Ireland, but it might take ages just to get stronger and stronger and stronger, and because those tragedies which came into Ireland uh, will make something good, but when it will make good, because all the sufferings is for something, but we don't want people to suffer. We don't want
Yeah,
those things.
Yeah.
But eventually, it is just the nature is working like that.
Yeah.
It is the logic
Yeah.
which is behind those tragedies. You know, the communism made this for us.
The last thing now I'll talk about is the schools, because all kind of religion was taught in schools, sacraments, and I know that, and you would know it from Cobh, that I missed the confirmation this year, and there was about maybe 300 confirmed, and normally in Cobh the confirmations were on a Saturday, and then people wouldn't turn up on Sunday because they would have been sick or sick heads or, you know, hangover, maybe parents. But now this year it was on a Thursday, I think. It was midweek because I was in Medjugorje, and I missed it because I wanted to be there, because every Friday or every Tuesday I did Mass in Norwood. The first communion class came down. I think they did a tremendous job. The teachers, I have great respect for the teachers that bring them when the parents won't bring them, and the first communion and the confirmation class. And I would give them a lot of, I suppose, direction, because it was the only place I could give it when I was doing Mass and there, and it was very, very nice. And then I noticed when I was here in Medjugorje, that the parish sent out a letter to every one of those boys and girls that got confirmation this year, that it was midweek and it was weekend, was the feast of Pentecost, and they were all invited to come. Now they might have been in other churches, but all I can gather is from, you know, asking people, of the maybe 200 or whatever got confirmation, there may be more, there was only about 2%. And that to me shows that what I said 20 years ago, and again everybody said I was crazy, that religion should be taken out of the schools and come by choice, like they do in England, they do in America, and you have to look for the sacraments by choice and prepare for them, not be given the sacraments. To me, certainly First Communion is a wonderful occasion. Confirmation also is a wonderful sacrament to make them strong and perfect Christians. But to me, for the vast majority, it's their exit sacrament from the church rather than their strengthening them in faith. I think until that day comes, that it won't change. I think it's too late now. This should have happened 20 years ago. But if I kind of try to put those, I suppose, thoughts into reality, I would be, totally ostracized. But now we can see the vast fall off in practice of faith. And I believe it's because sacraments were dispensed too easily without any, I suppose, regard for follow-up. So a comment on that, because I think it's very, very important.
Here, the religion is taught in schools, all the schools, even state schools. We have also Christian schools, Catholic schools, but the majority of schools are state schools. And 90s there was an agreement between Vatican and Slovakia that the religion will be taught in state schools. So whoever applies or writes on the list that he or she wants to be on the religion lesson in school once a week, yeah, he can. The state school can't must
Accommodate.
accommodate.
Just one day a week.
One day a week.
Yeah.
One day, one lesson a week. Yeah.
But they don't prepare them for the sacraments.
They don't really prepare for the sacraments. Only it is a religion education. Whoever wants to be there is there. So, but people who teach them, they are really prepared for it. They must study theology. There are like myself, I'm a deacon and was studying theology, so I can teach religion in school. And I'm teaching at state school religion. But then whoever goes to the first communion on confirmation, there is also, they're preparing the parish. So once a week, they meet a priest or they meet somebody, lay people who actually give them catechesis. So then those people are really preparing for the sacrament of first communion or confirmation. So like it is good way how to do it, because there is a nobody's making fun of it. So so people are more prepared. There is more freedom. Who wants to do it, just do it. And is more responsibility in that way, that people, it is made by their own choice. It is good way. It is good way, and we see that there is
it works.
It works. There is fruit in it. It is not 100% success, but it is better success than to teach everybody religion and without preparation in the parish. It is just the better. It is stronger for the people, and also like you can make some prayer meetings afterwards, because some people, they are struck by those things.
But I think in Ireland we lost a generation that kind of parents who didn't see the need. They'll bring them to football, they'll bring them to rugby, they'll bring them to soccer, they'll bring them everywhere to dancing, but they won't bring them to the church. And that has happened very, very much in a short number of years.
Yeah. And it is so easy to make it a choice to know if somebody wants to play sport and to be in a club, but those activities are, they need to understand that it is good. The sport is good, but it's not more important than the faith. So we need to combine those things together, but not to exclude faith because of the sport.
And I got a perfect example of that, even though I didn't meet your two boys in Medjugorje. But when I didn't, I came here instead, and it was a very nice thing to do, because they were upset that I hadn't met them, because there was 775,000 people there, and I just didn't get to meet them, but I've come here instead. But like, I had a choice earlier in the year to go to Medjugorje, not realising it was the same time as the Olympics. So I gave up going to my 10th Olympics to be in Medjugorje for the Youth Fest. And, to have 750 priests concelebrating, to have 75,000 children praying, not just children, youths, all 4 hours every night, and then there are other programs during the day. That to me changed a lot of my attitude, in the sense that there are good people everywhere, and it's our responsibility as a church, your responsibility as a deacon, my responsibility as a priest, even though I'm retired, to show an interest in those kids and make them faith people. So that's what I really believe, that I made the right choice in going to Medjugorje, because it opened my eyes to what the power of what young people can do if they're led in the right direction, and to meet all those young people. So kind of, how would you comment as a final comment on my observations on that?
Very important is for young people to experience joy, to experience happiness. And we must offer this in church. So we must offer the youngsters trips, camps, and to make them feeling good. We must use, a bit different language, language which unites the people. But in order to achieve that, we really need some special guys, animators, some special priests which don't hesitate to come to see youngsters and to support them, to listen to them, to play, to dance with them maybe, and then just to be there for them, so they might get a feeling of belonging somewhere. And that belonging somewhere must be not once a year. It must be made week by week, and then some special events. And this really what make people they discover in themselves something really big sense of it, because they will understand that they are different than they were before, like 2-3 years ago. They see the sense of having that value, the faith, and to have that special group of people who are proud of this, but proud in a good sense, that there can be happy, more happy even than in those doing something else, to do this. So yeah, it is those things are intentional. They just don't come without praying, without thinking, just happen. No, it must be. These things must be intended. It's good, and with good intention, good prayer and intention. And we shouldn't be worried that we are going to be strange, because it is something old-fashioned. No, let's make it just. We must adjust it to this world, but the core of this should stay there.
I think that's a very good note to end on, because it's pretty late. We've been out at houses later than we thought, but that was a great experience, and I'm delighted that we've encapsulated so much in this, I suppose it's called an interview or whatever, or a two-way conversation, and I'm sure that a lot of people will benefit greatly. I've benefited enormously by the decision of coming here to Slovakia, the wonderful experience of beatification, which I never experienced, the wonderful young people I met here, the lack, I suppose, of people stuck in their phones, all day. Like, that's probably one of my major problems, but I use those social media to promote faith and to promote happiness in people. But what your family have done, and the example they've been to me, and your faith, I suppose, and now teaching in schools. In Ireland, you didn't get the opportunity to teach in schools, but now you have, and I think you will make, and you are making a huge contribution, not just in your own family, but you're spreading the message of the Christian faith that you've been so, I suppose, lucky to have and to be given the privilege of serving as a deacon. So thank you very, very much, Peter, and I hope that many people in Cobh and other areas in Ireland will, when I share this, will take heed that we're talking, in all sincerity about the goodness of faith in people's lives, but it just doesn't happen by accident. It happens by commitment, attitude.
Yeah, attitude.
And
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
And we need a good rest. All the kids are going to bed long ago,
Yeah.
and some of them are going to school at 7 in the morning, and I'm heading to the airport tomorrow evening and be in Dublin on 7 and get back to Cork, and then be at Cork Airport at 11 to go back to Medjugorje again. So I'm really, in a way, living the life, but to me, this is one of the most marvellous experiences I've had in lifetime by coming here and seeing, and even yesterday to meet an Olympic three-time gold medalist, which was a first cousin of your good wife, Lenka. So thank you, and thank all the kids, and thank all the family for making this a most memorable week. So blessings to all of you who will ever get a chance to watch this, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Good night.
Good night,
Have a good life.
everybody.
Bye.